Reunited like a happy family, here we are again. Mickey Phelps of the Mercenary Geologist, Brett Cook of Exploration Insights, and Tommy Humphreys, my co-host here at the Toronto Cambridge House Show. How's everyone doing?
Doing fine, and it's really good to be back and doing the At the Bar show again.
Absolutely. It's been a while since we've done At the Bar, and who says we don't have intelligent conversations at the bar? We have a good one today, but before we get started, Mickey, what's happened?
I know why Tommy's here.
Yeah, why is Tommy here? Tommy, why are you here?
Because my expertise is drinking and the internet, so what are you here for?
I have a good conversation for you gentlemen today. Is the majority of exploration a capital destructive enterprise? Is too much money wasted? How do we love that topic? How much do we love it, Brett?
I think it's a good idea. I think it's something worth addressing. This is, on the whole, a capital destructive business. If you look at how much goes into exploration, let's call it just gold exploration alone, $5 billion a year, we're not making that back up in economic discoveries. And the reason I think that is, and I think this is something we might want to get into, is that there's a disconnect and a misunderstanding between the money guys and the science guys. The two sides don't really understand what the other guys' jobs are or goals are.
Right.
And I think that's the disconnect, and that's where it can be improved.
Right, Brent, that's a really good point. In this industry, I find that there's a fine line between geology and finance, and our ethics always respected. What do you think, Vicky?
Well, I would agree with that, and part of it has to do with our end is the trouble with geologists. Lots of geologists, good field exploration geologists, when they become CEOs and presidents and major minor junior resource companies, they don't have a clue about how to manage their finance. So a lot of times they are at the mercy of the financiers, and they end up with low private placements and lower prices, and they end up with blown out share structures. By the same token, there are very few financiers that understand what we do as geologists. So this leads to waste and want and what Brent refers to, which is a capital destructive industry on the whole.
Let's talk about how costs should be controlled. Where's the waste, Brent?
Well, let's talk about how the business actually works. If I need to raise some money, I want to go explore a project. If I bring a project, an idea to a financier or a broker and say, look, I've got this concept that there's Carlin deposits in the Yukon. Will you fund it? That's going to be tough to fund. But if I come to you and say, I've got this drill hole that runs 100 meters, 2 grams. It's been drilled by a lot of the people, but we can raise money on it, and we go out and drill this off. And the broker's idea is, okay, I can see where in 4 months I can get off my stock. That's all I care about. And what that means is that we waste a lot of money on projects that have been drilled and drilled and drilled before that really shouldn't be. And that's where I see a lot of the waste. That, plus so much money is spent on projects that even if they're successful in finding what they're looking for, it doesn't matter. It's not worth much.
Mickey, where's the waste for you?
Well, Brent's point is well taken. There's also waste in the fact that where is there infrastructure? Is there a way to get this stuff out? So there have been major discoveries made in the Yukon, but the flagship major discovery, and I don't want to beat up on a particular company, but it's 100 kilometers from the nearest road. It's not Carlin, Nevada. Yes, it's Carlin-style deposit, but it's not Carlin, Nevada.
Tommy, you mentioned IR, so let me ask you, how else do you get promotion for the companies and the stocks?
I think the best way to do it is probably just to pick up the phone and call journalists and call bloggers and email them and ask them politely to take a look at something. And I think personal contact and the phone is sort of undervalued.
And that's your cost-saving suggestion then for the company?
Yeah, pick up the phone, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Sure.
All right, Brett, anything to add on that?
Well, yeah, I've got a different take on it than Mickey, in that I think it's a fantastic idea to go up there in the Yukon and look for Carlin deposits or whatever you're looking for. That's virgin territory. That's where you're going to find the major big discoveries, world-class deposits. But you've got to go up there as an investor and a speculator in this. You've got to go up there with the idea that, okay, these are the hurdles we have to get over. This cost hurdle is what we've got to get over.
So, Brett, Mickey, give Tommy and I the inside scoop. Are there any interesting projects you're looking at right now? Any big projects that you think are going to just explode?
Well, there's certainly been major discoveries made this summer in areas of the world that are perhaps not as forbidding as perhaps the Yukon. And the problem with the Yukon has been not the particular thing I talked about, but the 100 other juniors that went in there. And a big part of what goes on in this business is what I call lifestyle companies. So you've got CEOs who are basically making a very nice upper middle class living in West Van or North Van on the public dole, and they have not a legitimate deposit. They've done this time and time again. So that's where a lot of the capital is destructive, where a lot of the money is waste.
Well, I think that's a major red flag, right? Everyone, when the CEO salary and the stock price are not aligned.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues to deal with there, and certainly what I mentioned earlier, the brokers facilitate the problem you've got where it turns into a lifestyle, just raising money on projects that don't really work. It's tough to know where discovery is going to come until it actually comes from, but we've had this year what looks like major discoveries in Serbia, Dominican Republic. I just bought one in Minnesota. There's one I own down in Mexico. Australia, I'm aware of one as well. I mean, they're out there. They're percolating along, but until we get that bingo moment.
And you'll let us know first, right?
If you're subscribed to my letter, you get it first.
Okay. Now, Brent has gone on the record in the past and has said that 95% of the juniors will not amount to anything. So how do you choose the 5%? Tommy, how do you choose those winning 5% from an average investor point of view?
Well, I think 95% of the newsletter writers are going to amount to nothing either.
Let's pick on everybody.
But not these two, obviously. None of the ones that are at the Cambridge conference. So let's leave this question for the experts.
All right. Thank you, diplomat. Thank you.
I think everybody's to blame. We picked on the geologists, we picked on the brokers, the financiers, the newsletter writers, and the lay investors also have a part in this too, because they're the ones that are buying high and selling low historically. So through education, what Brent and I try to do a lot, we're trying to make better investors of everybody. We're all to blame. No one's to blame probably more than any other, but yes, when it's truth be told, there's more money in this business, goes into this business, than there's ore that comes out of the ground on a dollar basis.
Are you sticking to the 95%, or has that number improved somewhat, Brent?
Yeah, but obviously you're not to blame.
Thank you.
You're a token teetotaler here, and it's much appreciated. Well, the fact of the matter is, that's just the way the rocks break. 95% of the companies that look like they're under discovery, they go up this scale, and eventually we recognize what the problem is, and they go back down. That's just the odds. The key is to understand what the company's looking for, interpret it properly, and detect the fatal flaw as it's moving up there before the crowd. So you can still make money on something that doesn't turn out to be a discovery. Just know what you're actually looking for. Good thoughts.
Who wants the final word of the day?
Well, I would have to say, notice how Brent and I are color coordinated today. We obviously dressed for your show, and it's fun to hang out at the bar once again with you, Daniela, and I look forward when we can do this again.
Absolutely. If they'll have us back and we're not banned, absolutely. We'll be seeing each other in New Orleans, and maybe Tommy and I should coordinate next time, right, Tommy?
We'll try. And we just want to say lastly that thank God for the internet. First there was cable TV, but what a place where you can drink and have an interview. Cheers. Thanks, Daniela.
He just loves the mic. Who brought Tommy here? Who brought Tommy? All right, and thanks for watching this edition of At the Bar with Mickey Phelps of the Mercenary Geologist, Brett Cook of Exploration Insights, and Tommy Humphries of Tommy Humphries, right?
Sure.
Okay. And I'm Daniela Camboni for Kitco News. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Daniela.